Sure. And if you were on the live that I did with y'all a couple weeks back, you might have seen the data that showed as of mid-March, we were actually seeing a spike in e-commerce spending overall, and that some categories were leading that while others were actually declining. So if you think about what was happening in the world, people were setting up their home offices, they were buying more comfortable pants to wear at home, they were stocking up on groceries and essentials, right? So we kind of went through that phase, and I think that we're starting to see that calm down a bit, right? So we're coming back to a new normal here. And now the question is, okay, category by category, niche by niche, what's going on? And so in e-commerce, I see kind of two different sets of trends happening. And I apologize because e-commerce is such a broad category that you almost have to analyze it niche by niche. But I'll do my best to talk to it overall. So first is the niche specific trend, and we can give a couple examples there where a very specific part of the e-commerce market is being impacted in a very specific way, creating certain pivot opportunities. The second is broad changes across categories that might help people think about how to reframe their e-commerce offering overall and some new tactics you might use. So starting on the niche side, one example, and this is one that's hitting me very personally, teachers pay teachers sellers, right? Or people who sell class style educational materials and exercises have seen a huge shift, right? Teachers are generally not at work. Most schools are closed down, and teachers are buying fewer materials than in the past. But there's actually this entire new market now that has opened. And I hear a number of sellers saying they're already seeing orders of parents, right? So parents who are looking for materials and activities that they can do with their kids now that we're put in a position to homeschool that we never expected we were going to be put in if we weren't already homeschooling our children. And so, I have a 4.5-year-old daughter, and she's home from school now. I'm a reasonably intelligent person. I'm sure I understand the concepts that her pre-K class is trying to teach, but honestly, I stare at some of these exercises with a lot of anxiety for
Right.
5, 10, 15 minutes because I want to teach it the right way. I want to make sure she's getting the education she's supposed to get. And it led me to thinking, okay, if I could just have videos for some of these resources, or I could have maybe clearer instructions, clearer tutorials, if I was looking at 2 or 3 different options of which resource to buy, and one of them was paid and the others were free, but the paid one came with better instructions or a video showing me in 2 minutes how to teach this exercise, I would go with the paid one all day long because I want my daughter to have the best education possible, as long as it's a reasonable, fair price, right? And so there might be an opportunity there in rethinking the tactics around how to package and frame the offering that still makes it viable to sell, even if it's into a new audience in the first place.